The summer air hung thick and sweet with the scent of roses and damp earth. Mia, meticulously sketching the garden's layout in her notebook, adjusted her straw hat. "Leo, are you sure Grandma said 3 paces from the sundial? It feels random." Leo, already wielding a small shovel with far more enthusiasm than precision, barely glanced up. "Totally sure." She winked when she said it, Mia. "A wink. That means it's a real treasure spot." He plunged the shovel into the soft soil, sending a spray of dirt flying. Mia sighed, smoothing down her dress. Leo was all impulsive energy, while she preferred a plan. That's just how they were. Their grandma Rose, though, she was a whole other level of quirky. She'd always encouraged their adventures, dropping hints about the garden holding secrets, but never outright telling them anything. "Careful, Leo. You'll hit a root," Mia warned, but it was too late. The shovel struck something solid, not a root but hollow. Leo dropped to his knees, frantically digging around the object. "I found something. It's a wooden board." He tugged, and with a groaning creak the board lifted, revealing a dark, gaping hole. A rush of warm, strangely luminous air wafted up, carrying with it a chorus of tiny buzzing sounds. "Whoa!" Leo breathed, peering into the darkness. Grandma wasn't kidding. Mia, however, was already calculating risks. "Leo, wait. We don't know what's down there. Could be dangerous." But Leo, predictably, was already lowering himself into the hole, grabbing onto the edges. "Come on, Mia. Adventure awaits." Before Mia could protest further, the earth beneath her feet crumbled. She yelped, losing her grip, and tumbled headfirst into the darkness, landing with a surprisingly soft thud. "Mia!" Leo's voice echoed from above, then a smaller thump as he joined her. They sat up, blinking. The darkness wasn't dark at all. They were in a cavern bathed in a soft emerald glow, emanating from strange bioluminescent fungi clinging to the walls. Everything was miniature. Blades of grass towered like trees, pebbles loomed like boulders, and the air vibrated with the sound of countless tiny legs. Suddenly, a line of ants, each one the size of Mia's thumb, marched towards them, their antennae twitching with alarm. Behind them, a squadron of beetles, gleaming like polished jewels, buzzed angrily. "Well," Leo said, his voice a little shaky now, "this is unexpected." An ant, seemingly the leader, brandished a tiny spear made of a thorn. "Halt! Who goes there?" "Intruders in the Undergarden." A beetle, equally imposing, landed in front of them, clicking its mandibles. "You have trespassed upon sacred ground. Explain yourselves." Mia, despite her initial fear, forced herself to speak. We didn't mean to intrude. We were just digging in Grandma's garden." The ant and beetle exchanged skeptical glances. "Grandma?" the beetle scoffed. "What is this grandma you speak of?" Leo, ever the optimist, chimed in. She's the best. She told us there might be treasure." The ant raised its spear higher. "Treasure? You seek treasure in our land? Prepare to face the consequences." The ant soldiers, surprisingly strong for their size, escorted Mia and Leo through a network of tunnels carved into the earth. The tunnels were impeccably clean, organized with designated pathways for different tasks: leaf carrying, food storage, even what seemed like nurseries filled with ant larvae. Everything was orderly, almost too orderly. "Where are you taking us?" Mia asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "To the queen, of course," one of the ants replied, its voice a high-pitched chirp. "She will decide your fate." They emerged into a vast cavern, lit by glowing fungi and the soft luminescence of the ants themselves. At the far end, upon a throne constructed of polished pebbles and flower petals, sat the ant queen. She was enormous compared to her subjects, her abdomen gleaming with a regal sheen. Beside her, perched on a mushroom, was a very old grasshopper, stroking his chin thoughtfully. "So," the queen said, her voice surprisingly deep and resonant, "you are the above-world creatures who disturbed our peace." Before Mia could respond, a chorus of buzzing erupted from another tunnel. A squadron of beetles, led by a magnificent specimen with iridescent wings, landed before the queen. The beetle king, adorned with a crown of dewdrops, fixed Mia and Leo with a challenging stare. "And these are the trespassers who dare to wander into my kingdom," the beetle king boomed. his voice a rumbling vibration. They disrupt the natural flow of things. Your Majesty, the Queen said, addressing the king with a cool formality, perhaps we should hear what they have to say before making accusations. Very well, the king conceded, waving a leg dismissively. But I doubt they have a valid explanation for their intrusion. Mia, taking a deep breath, stepped forward. We truly didn't mean to cause trouble. We were just exploring our grandma's garden, and we accidentally fell through a hole. The Queen raised a delicate antenna. A grandma? An odd concept, but it matters not. The issue at hand is the age-old dispute between our kingdoms. Dispute? Leo asked, confused. The king scoffed. Dispute? It's a war, boy. A struggle for survival. The ants believe in rigid order, in controlling every aspect of life. They hoard resources, leaving none for others. And you believe in chaos, the Queen retorted, her voice sharpening. In reckless abandon. Your constant artistic endeavors disrupt the delicate balance of the Undergarden. You consume resources without replenishing them. Art is essential, the king declared dramatically. It is the spark of life, the expression of the soul. You ants wouldn't understand. You're too busy marching in straight lines. The grasshopper cleared his throat. If I may, Your Majesties, this has been going on for generations. The ants believe in efficiency and planning for the future. The beetles believe in spontaneity and living in the moment. Both have their merits, and both lead to conflict. A flamboyant firefly, hovering near the king, chimed in, flashing his light excitedly. Oh, it's divine chaos, darling. A beautiful mess. The ants are so predictable. The Queen ignored the firefly. The underlying issue is territory and the glimmer dust. The richest soil, the most abundant glimmer dust deposits, they are all points of contention. Glimmer dust? Mia asked. It's a vital resource, the Queen explained. It nourishes the plants, provides energy for our communities. Without it, the Undergarden will wither and die. The king added, and the ants are trying to control it all, to dictate how it's used. They want to stifle all creativity and innovation. The Queen and the king turned their gazes back to Mia and Leo. You come from the above world, the Queen said. A world outside our conflicts. Perhaps you can see things from a different perspective. Perhaps you can help us find a solution. We're just kids, Leo protested, but the Queen's expression was firm. You may be young, she said, but you are outsiders, unbiased. We ask you to consider our plight, to listen to both sides, and to help us find a path to peace. Will you accept this task? The Queen's words hung in the air. Mia, ever the planner, immediately began to assess the situation. Leo, however, was already bouncing on the balls of his feet, eager for action. So a riddle? Leo exclaimed. Awesome! Where is it? The Queen gestured with a delicate leg. The oldest tree in the Undergarden. The great elderwood. Its roots hold the answer, etched by the first gardener long ago. Be warned, the path is not easy. Tensions are high, and skirmishes between the ants and beetles are frequent. And what exactly is this riddle supposed to do? Mia asked, pulling out a small notebook and pencil from her pocket. It speaks of a forgotten blessing, a source of nourishment that predates even our kingdom's conflict. The grasshopper chirped, leaning closer. A resource that could ease the strain on the glimmer dust and perhaps bridge the gap between our peoples. The beetle king scoffed. Sounds like a fairy tale to me. But if it keeps those two occupied, I'm all for it. With a map sketched by the grasshopper, Mia and Leo set off. The Undergarden was a labyrinth of towering mushrooms, winding roots, and hidden tunnels. It quickly became clear that the journey wouldn't be a simple stroll. Let's stick to the main paths, Mia said, consulting the map. The grasshopper said there's been increased ant patrol activity near the eastern tunnels. Main paths are boring, Leo retorted, already darting off towards a cluster of glowing toadstools. Look, a shortcut. Leo, wait, Mia called, but he was already disappearing into the undergrowth. Sighing, she hurried after him. The shortcut turned out to be anything but. It led them directly into a patrol of ant soldiers, who immediately surrounded them, their tiny mandibles clicking menacingly. Intruders! one of the ants chirped. You are trespassing in a restricted zone. We're just trying to get to the Great Elderwood, Mia explained, trying to sound calm. We were asked by the Queen. The Queen sent no word of your passage, the ant retorted. Prepare to be detained. Before things could escalate, Leo, with a burst of energy, began to mimic the ants' marching rhythm, exaggerating their movements with comical precision. The ants, momentarily stunned by the unexpected display, paused their advance. What are you doing? The ant leader stammered. Just showing my respect, Leo said with a grin. You guys have amazing coordination. Mia, seizing the opportunity, quickly stepped forward. We apologize for the intrusion. We'll stick to the designated paths from now on. Please let us pass. After a moment of confused hesitation, the ant soldiers reluctantly stepped aside. Mia glared at Leo. Seriously? Mimicking them? Hey, it worked, didn't it? Leo shrugged. Sometimes you just gotta improvise. As they continued their journey, they stumbled upon a small clearing where a group of ladybugs were huddled together, looking dejected. A tiny worm, its body covered in dust, approached them. Excuse me, the worm squeaked. Have you heard of the riddle? We're on our way to solve it, Mia replied. Perhaps we can help, the worm said. The war. It's making it hard for everyone. The ants and beetles are trampling our gardens, and the glimmer dust is becoming scarce. Old Man Hemlock, the oldest worm in these parts, remembers stories of a hidden spring, a place where the glimmer dust flowed freely, even during the driest seasons. A spring. Mia's eyes lit up. Do you know where it is? He said the riddle speaks of where the Elderwood's tears fall, and stone remembers the sun's call, the worm replied. He believes it refers to a specific rock formation near the Elderwood, where water drips constantly from the roots. That's a great clue, Mia exclaimed, scribbling it down in her notebook. Thank you. Leo, who had been examining a nearby flower, suddenly pointed. Hey look, more ant and beetle patrols. And they're heading towards the Elderwood. Looks like a showdown's brewing. Mia sighed. Looks like our quest just got a little more complicated. Following the worm's clue, Mia and Leo navigated towards the base of the Great Elderwood. True to the worm's description, a cluster of moss-covered rocks sat perpetually damp beneath the tree's sprawling roots. Water dripped steadily, creating a small, shimmering pool. Where the Elderwood's tears fall and stone remembers the sun's call, Mia murmured, tracing the words in her notebook. This must be the place. As Leo examined the rocks, he noticed a faint outline etched into the stone, almost hidden beneath the moss. Carefully, he cleared away the growth, revealing a series of interconnected lines. A map. Mia, look, he exclaimed. A map. It shows a network of caves and a spring. The map depicted a winding path leading to a series of caverns, marked with symbols representing glowworms. A larger symbol at the end indicated the glimmer dust spring. It's incredible, Mia breathed. But the map also shows a guardian, a large spider, guarding the entrance to the spring. A spider. Leo gulped. Great. Just what we needed. The entrance to the caves was hidden behind a curtain of shimmering vines. As they pushed through, they found themselves in a breathtaking grotto illuminated by thousands of glowing worms. The light pulsed with a gentle rhythm, casting an ethereal glow on the cave walls. Wow, Leo whispered, his usual boisterous energy subdued by the beauty of the scene. It's peaceful, Mia agreed, her eyes wide with wonder. Suddenly, a chorus of tiny voices filled the air. Welcome, travelers. Mia and Leo looked around, trying to locate the source of the sound. The glowworms themselves seemed to be speaking, their lights flickering in patterns. We are the keepers of the light, one of the glowworms pulsed. We have watched you follow the path of the riddle. You seek the glimmer dust spring. Yes, Mia replied. We're trying to help the Ant Queen and the Beetle King find a way to share the glimmer dust. A noble quest, the glowworm responded. But the path is fraught with peril. Old Silas, the guardian of the spring, is particular. He dislikes intruders and believes neutrality is the only true path. Neutrality? Leo asked. But isn't it better to try and help? Silas has seen countless conflicts come and go, the glowworm explained. He believes that taking sides only prolongs the suffering. He has guarded the spring for centuries, ensuring it remains untouched by the squabbles of others. The glowworms guided Mia and Leo deeper into the caves, illuminating their path with their gentle light. As they neared the spring, they encountered a massive web, spun with incredible intricacy. And in the center sat old Silas, a spider of immense size and age, his 8 eyes glinting in the glowworm light. "Halt!" Silas boomed, his voice a low rumble that echoed through the caves. "Who dares disturb my peace?" "We were Mia and Leo," Mia stammered. "We're here to see the Glimmerdust spring." "The spring is not for seeing," Silas growled. "It is for preserving. Turn back, children, before you regret it." "But we want to help," Leo protested. "The ants and beetles are fighting over the Glimmerdust, and it's hurting everyone." Silas let out a dry, rasping laugh. "Fighting is in their nature. It always has been, and it always will be. You cannot change that." "But we can try," Mia insisted, stepping forward. "We believe there's enough Glimmerdust for everyone if it's shared fairly." Silas studied them for a long moment, his multiple eyes scrutinizing their every move. "You are young and naive, but I sense sincerity. Tell me, children, what do you know of webs?" Leo looked confused. Mia, however, remembered something from her science lessons. "Webs aren't just about catching prey," she said. "They're also about structure, strength, and communication. Different types of silk have different properties, and they're incredibly sensitive to vibrations." Silas's eyes narrowed. "Intriguing. You have observed more than I anticipated, but knowledge is not enough. Can you feel the web? Can you understand its delicate balance?" "Feel it," Silas challenged, extending a leg towards Mia. Hesitantly, she reached out and touched a strand of the web. It vibrated with the slightest movement, a complex network of signals humming beneath her fingertips. "It's alive," she breathed. "Each strand is connected. A message can travel across the whole web instantly." Silas seemed almost pleased. "Indeed. And what would happen if a single strand were broken?" "The whole structure would weaken," Leo chimed in, remembering a documentary he'd watched. "But a clever spider can repair it, reinforce it." Silas chuckled, a sound like rustling leaves. "You speak with understanding. Very well. I will allow you to pass, but only if you can answer one more question. What is the purpose of a web beyond catching food?" Mia thought for a moment. "It's a home," she said finally. "A safe place, and a way to connect with others." Silas slowly nodded. "Correct. You may pass." He gestured with a leg towards a narrow passage hidden behind his massive form. "The spring lies beyond. But be warned, it is not what it once was." As they ventured through the passage, the glowworm's light revealed a cavern bathed in a soft, ethereal glow. In the center, nestled amongst moss-covered rocks, was the Glimmerdust spring. But it wasn't the rushing, vibrant source of energy they'd imagined. Instead, the flow was a mere trickle, the Glimmerdust barely visible in the water. "It's barely flowing," Leo said, disappointment evident in his voice. Mia examined the spring closely. "Look." She pointed to a large pile of debris, broken twigs, shattered beetle shells, and clumps of dried leaves, clogging the outlet of the spring. "The conflict, it's blocked the source. So it's not that there isn't no Glimmerdust, it's that it can't get out," Leo exclaimed. "We need to clear this." The debris was heavy and compacted. Leo, with his usual eagerness, started pulling at the larger branches, but they were wedged in tight. Mia, observing carefully, noticed a network of smaller roots holding the debris in place. "Leo, be careful. You'll just make it worse," she cautioned. "We need to loosen the roots first." Working together, Mia carefully untangled the roots while Leo gently dislodged the debris. It was slow, painstaking work. As they worked, they heard a faint, distressed chirping. "What's that?" Mia asked, pausing. They followed the sound to a small crevice in the rock face, where they found a tiny beetle larva, trapped beneath a fallen leaf. It was struggling weakly, its legs tangled in a strand of spider silk. "Oh, the poor thing," Leo exclaimed, carefully freeing the larva. "It's so small." Mia gently placed the larva on a nearby moss patch. It must have gotten separated from its family during the fighting. We should help it find its way back, Leo said, his face determined. Later, Leo, Mia said gently. Right now, we need to focus on clearing the spring. The whole Undergarden is depending on us. Resuming their work, they finally managed to clear the blockage. With a gurgle and a rush, the glimmer dust spring burst back to life, the water flowing freely, shimmering with a brilliant golden light. The cavern filled with a revitalizing energy, and the glowworms pulsed with renewed vigor. But as the water flowed, Mia noticed something else. The surrounding plants were withered and brown, their leaves brittle. The ground was cracked and dry. The war wasn't just blocking the glimmer dust. It was devastating the entire ecosystem. Leo, she said, her voice filled with sadness. Look around. The fighting. It's really hurting everything. Leo's face fell as he took in the scene. He'd been so focused on solving the riddle and reaching the spring that he hadn't fully grasped the extent of the damage. We have to do something, he said, his voice determined. We have to help them fix this. The revitalized glimmer dust spring pulsed with golden light, but the air remained thick with tension. Before Mia and Leo could fully bask in their success, a formidable procession emerged from the tunnels. Leading the way was the Ant Queen, her chiton gleaming, flanked by rows of perfectly synchronized soldiers. Close behind marched the Beetle King, a whirlwind of iridescent wings and a retinue of artistically armored beetles. They stopped a short distance from the spring, their gazes fixed on the children with undisguised suspicion. What have you done? The Queen demanded, her voice a precise, clicking sound. Why has the spring been reactivated? And by surface dwellers? The king, ever dramatic, swept his antennae back and forth. Indeed, what trickery is this? Have you forged an alliance with Silas, seeking to control the glimmer dust for yourselves? Leo instinctively stepped in front of Mia, his hands raised in a gesture of peace. We didn't trick anyone. We just cleared the blockage. The war, it was stopping the glimmer dust from flowing. War is a matter of necessity, the Queen retorted. Resources are finite. Order must be maintained. But at what cost? Mia countered, her voice trembling slightly but firm. Look around you. The garden is suffering. Before the argument could escalate, a warm, familiar voice echoed through the cavern. Enough. All eyes turned towards the entrance of the cave, and a collective gasp rippled through the assembled insects. Standing there, bathed in the golden light of the spring, was Grandma. But she was different. Her eyes held a knowing sparkle, and an aura of quiet authority emanated from her. Grandma! Leo breathed, utterly bewildered. Grandma smiled, a gentle, loving expression that instantly calmed the tense atmosphere. Hello, my dears. Seems you've been busy. She turned to the Queen and the King, her gaze sweeping over them with a mixture of sadness and understanding. It has been a long time, hasn't it? The Queen, usually so stoic, lowered her antennae in a gesture of respect. Guardian, we did not expect to see you again. The King, regaining his flair, bowed deeply. Your Majesty, forgive our suspicion, but these are unusual circumstances. Grandma chuckled softly. Circumstances of my own making, perhaps. For many years, I was known as the guardian of the garden. I watched over this world, nurtured it, and guided its inhabitants. A flicker of images seemed to dance in the air around her. A younger grandma, her hands glowing with a soft green light, tending to injured beetles, mediating disputes between ant colonies, and sharing laughter with a circle of glowworms. The insects murmured amongst themselves, recognizing scenes from ancient stories passed down through generations. But I realized that true growth comes from self-governance, Grandma continued, her voice laced with wistfulness. I wanted you all to learn to resolve your differences, to build a harmonious world on your own. So I stepped back, allowing you to find your own way. She paused, her gaze falling upon the withered plants and the cracked earth. I had hoped you would learn to share. Old Man Tiber, the grasshopper advisor to the Queen, hopped forward. Your Majesty always possessed a wisdom beyond our comprehension. We knew, of course, of your former role. We hoped you would intervene before the situation became so dire. Beside the King, Flicker, the flamboyant firefly, chimed in, his light blinking rapidly. Indeed. We've been sending subtle signals, hoping to appeal to your benevolent nature, guardian. But you remained silent. Grandma sighed. I wanted you to find your own path, even if it meant making mistakes. But this conflict has gone on for too long. It's poisoning the very heart of the garden. She looked at Mia and Leo, her eyes filled with pride. But perhaps sometimes a fresh perspective is needed, a reminder that even the smallest creatures can make a difference. Grandma turned to Mia and Leo, a gentle smile gracing her lips. Now, my dears, let's talk about solutions. She gestured towards the flowing glimmer dust spring. The glimmer dust is a gift, but a gift that must be shared. It's not about who deserves it more, but about how we can use it to heal and rebuild. Mia, ever the planner, immediately began to think. We could create a schedule, she suggested. A system for distributing the glimmer dust equally between the ant kingdom and the beetle kingdom. Maybe based on need, areas most affected by the drought get priority? Leo, surprisingly, chimed in with a practical idea. And we could make sure everyone gets a fair share, not just the leaders. Little beetle larvae and baby ants need it too. Grandma nodded approvingly. Excellent ideas. It needs to be transparent and fair, a system built on trust. She turned towards the queen and the king. I propose a shared stewardship of the spring. Each kingdom will receive an equal portion of the glimmer dust, and both will commit to using a portion of their resources and their citizens to restore the damaged areas of the garden. The queen's antennae twitched, her expression unreadable. A shared stewardship? It goes against everything we believe in. Efficiency demands control, and freedom demands collaboration, the king countered, spreading his wings dramatically. But, I confess, the sight of the withered blossoms and the parched earth pains even my artistic soul. Think of the possibilities, Grandma urged, her voice resonating with warmth. Imagine the beauty you could create together. The ant kingdom's organizational skills combined with the beetle kingdom's creativity. It could be magnificent. Old Man Tiber hopped closer to the queen, whispering something in her ear. Flicker, the firefly, zipped around the king's head, emitting a series of encouraging blinks. After a long, tense silence, the queen slowly lowered her antennae. Very well, she conceded, her voice still precise but lacking its earlier sharpness. We will agree to a trial period, a shared stewardship, with a strict accounting of the glimmer dust distribution, and a commitment to restoration efforts. The king, with a flourish, declared, a truce, a glorious truce. Let the beetles and the ants work side by side to reclaim our garden. A collective sigh of relief swept through the cavern. Insects began to murmur excitedly, a wave of hope rippling through the assembled crowd. Now, Grandma said, smiling, let's talk about a celebration, a festival to mark this new beginning. She winked at Tiber and Flicker. I believe our advisors have a few ideas. Tiber and Flicker exchanged a look, then burst into action. A festival of light and order, Tiber announced. We'll organize a parade, showcasing the strengths of both kingdoms. And a grand ball, Flicker added, his light flashing with excitement. With music, dancing, and dazzling displays of beetle artistry. Mia and Leo exchanged a happy glance. They had helped to bring peace to the Undergarden, and it felt incredible. The Undergarden buzzed with activity. Beetles and ants side by side were already hard at work, preparing for the festival of light and order. Colorful beetle-woven banners depicting intertwined ant and beetle symbols adorned the cavern walls, while neatly organized lines of ants carried luminescent fungi to illuminate the celebration grounds. Mia and Leo stood with Grandma near the hidden entrance, a bittersweet feeling washing over them. They had spent what felt like a lifetime in this miniature world, and saying goodbye was harder than they expected. It's amazing how quickly things changed, Leo said, gazing at the bustling scene. Just a few days ago they were at war. And now they are building a future together, Grandma replied, her eyes twinkling. That's the power of understanding, my dears. And a little bit of glimmer dust. Queen Anya approached, her antennae lowered in a gesture of respect. Thank you, children of the above world, she said, her voice surprisingly warm. You have shown us the value of compromise. We will not forget your kindness. King Oberon, never one for formality, swept towards them with a flourish. Indeed, you've inspired a whole new generation of beetle artists. I'm already envisioning a magnificent sculpture celebrating our newfound peace. Perhaps a beetle riding an ant? The possibilities are endless. Mia and Leo laughed. We're just glad we could help, Mia said sincerely. We promise to visit again, Leo added, already missing the adventure. Grandma smiled. The garden will always be here, waiting to reveal its secrets. But remember, the real magic isn't just in the garden. It's in how we treat each other above and below. As they prepared to climb back through the hidden entrance, a small disagreement flared between Mia and Leo. I think we should take the blue glowworm shell as a souvenir, Leo argued. It's really cool. No way, Leo. Mia protested. It belongs here. It's part of their world. Taking it would be disrespectful, especially after everything we've learned. Leo grumbled, but then he remembered the lessons of the Undergarden, considering other perspectives, respecting different cultures. He sighed. You're right. It's their shell. Mia smiled, squeezing his hand. See? We're getting better at this. They climbed through the opening, emerging back into Grandma's garden. The sunlight felt strangely bright after the gentle glow of the Undergarden. Everything seemed bigger. Grandma was already tending to her roses, a knowing smile on her face. She didn't ask about their adventure, but her eyes held a depth of understanding that spoke volumes. Everything all right, dears? She asked casually. It was incredible, Grandma, Mia said, still feeling a bit dazed. We learned so much. Grandma chuckled, snipping a dead bloom from a rose bush. Oh, I imagine you did. This garden holds many secrets, you know. More than you can possibly imagine. She glanced towards a patch of sunflowers, then back at them, her smile widening. And I suspect this is just the beginning. As they walked back towards the house, hand in hand, Mia and Leo knew their summer with Grandma wouldn't be forgotten. They had discovered a hidden world, helped to bring peace to warring kingdoms, and most importantly, they had learned that even the smallest creatures and the biggest disagreements could be overcome with understanding, compromise, and a little bit of magic.